Sean Healy, our church, a lot of new people have come recently and they don't know you and your story. So I thought it would be cool to have you share your story about what happened between you and your daughter. So how long ago was it? And
it was 24 years ago, and it was right out there in that driveway that you just pulled in. And I was coming home from work on a Sunday afternoon in early summer, late spring. It was a beautiful sunny day. Had a full-size Chevy van, and I do what I normally do, and I backed the van into the driveway. Well, it was nice out, so the kids were outside. They came running up to see Daddy, and I backed over my 18-month-old Erin and nearly killed her. So she was too young to talk, and my wife was pregnant with number 4, and so we raced off to the Phoenixville hospital, and Jean drove in the same van that I had backed Erin over, and Erin was on a blanket in the back of the van, and we're on the way to Phoenixville Hospital with 911 on the call.
so you didn't know if she was going to make it.
She had head trauma, so there was a big part of her face and skull, which the skin was rubbed off, and the tire went completely over her arm, so she had Firestone prints on one side and macadam prints on the other. And she, you can't ask her, does her head hurt, whatever. So the ambulance meets us, we get to Phoenixville Hospital, and they were amazing. They had all the right equipment, and Jean couldn't be anywhere near the x-rays or MRIs. It had to be me because she was pregnant. So this is 24 years ago. I'm still like this every time. So anyway, ride down to the Children's Hospital. The people that are in the ambulance are amazing, and they're asking me questions. Does her head look different? Does her eyes point in the same direction? That kind of stuff. So, and I'm still trying to figure out, how I, ran over my own kid. But anyway, so we get to Children's Hospital, and we were met with a whole staff of people because they've been. The chief neurosurgeon comes out and he looks at me, and he is just machine gunning me with questions. I mean, I'm trying to stay calm and answer as best I can. And anyway, they whisk her off, and they've got to do all kinds of they're really worried about the head trauma. So the arm, they're like, if it's broken, we'll deal with that later, but we got to figure the head thing out first because she's a 1.5-year old kid. Anyway, that same neurosurgeon, he comes into the room and he's got all the charts and pictures and everything, and he's clearly in a different mood. And he's like, look, there's no fluid, everything looks good. I think she's going to be okay. We're going to transition from head trauma to worrying about scarring and skin issues. So anyway, I said to him, well, you're in a better mood than the first time I talked to you. And he turned around and he looked at me, he said, Mr. Healy, you're the 4th parent coming in here today with a kid that was run over in the driveway, and your kid is the only one that's going to walk out of here alive. I think about those other 3 families. And why my kid got spared and theirs didn't. spiritually and emotionally where I was at the time. My wife was trying to get our family to a church, and I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And she wouldn't quit trying to find a church. And where I was emotionally and spiritually at the time is that I thought the church was, a waste of time. It was just a bunch of hocus pocus opinions and it didn't really mean anything. And my priorities personally were, my work, hobbies, my priorities as a human, as a father, as a husband. And I really think it was that morning watching that sunrise come up and just, is that soft voice of God that is basically, I've got plans for you, and you need to repent and you need to get your priorities figured out.
Have you let yourself off the hook yet?
Absolutely.
Okay. How did you do that?
So to get past that is really understanding of how you can serve others, because that's where you meet God and you meet the richness of life, is by surrendering completely to God. And I'm just thinking about what the moment that Jesus really hit me, and understanding what it has to have a relationship with Jesus, was the story of Lazarus. And it's a very simple verse, and it just says Jesus wept. And this is where Jesus met Martha and Mary on the path, and they were just devastated. They were devastated for the loss of Lazarus and the fact that this was described as Jesus's buddy, his friend. And Jesus could have been like, ladies, I got this. He's gonna be alive again. There's nothing that I can't do. But that's not what he did. He met them where they were. He met them in their pain. That's what Jesus is willing to do for us, all of us, every day. And that's how you get beyond it.